Watch enough combat sports and you'll never be too far away watching unfold. And for this video, we're only bringing you the best moments from the combat sports history books. These are some mind-blowing moments seen in combat sports. Let's kick things off with a major bang. This two-touch spinning back kick came with some serious speed and force behind it. Not only did he manage to outfeint his opponent initially to set this kick up, but when he did finally throw it, it came so rapidly that there was very little chance of his opponent getting out of the way. This one was just made for highlight videos like this one. A brutal way to bring a Taekwondo bout to a sudden close. How about some Yuri Prohaska violence next? The former UFC light heavyweight champion didn't actually lose his belt inside the octagon. And if you take a look at his run prior to signing with Dana White's promotion, you'll find many moments just like this one. This knockout was a vintage display of Yuri's power, as he ran through Kazuki Fujita in dominant fashion, showing the type of ferocity that would eventually lead him to the UFC gold. One of the all-time great action fighters. Of that, there is little doubt. Next up, we go to the world of heavyweight boxing, where Charles Martin put on a riveting display of sheer force, catching his opponent cleanly with a big overhand that caused the fight to be stopped. You could just see the shockwaves coursing through his body upon impact. And while the referee did give him a chance to make his case, it was very, very clear that there was no coming back from this punch. If anything, the ref saved him from an even worse fate if the fight had resumed. A piston of a straight punch comes in next, the type of shot you'd expect to see in the highest levels of the boxing ring. But no, this knockout came in Muay Thai, and boy, it was a good one. The angle on this KO shot was just perfect, and his opponent just didn't have the right position to either defend nor evade it. And as soon as it landed, it was clear that his fighting chance had all but certainly slipped away. Speed really does kill when it comes to the world of Taekwondo. And in this example, this fighter didn't even have to try and hide the fact that he was looking for the counter. Both guys stood waiting on the other to make their first move, but one of them clearly came equipped with the faster kicks. And when the action finally commenced, the punishment was delivered in swift fashion, with a scintillating spinning kick landing directly on its intended target. They say it's the shots that you don't see coming that hurt the most. And that was most certainly true of this effort. Everything seemed to be going to plan for this fighter. He broke contact with his foe and moved off to the side. The problem? Well, his wily adversary had already fired off a head kick, and it caught its target clean as he looked to carve out some space. As soon as the impact happened, the ref knew that this fight was done. This Genki Sudo was all kinds of crazy. In the space of just a few minutes, we saw two knockdowns by way of spinning back fist, a knockdown from leg kicks, and all the usual bizarre movement that we've come to expect from this Japanese legend. And it was those leg kicks in the end that brought this K1 showdown to its close. That's a lot of wild action packed into a very short space of time. Who needs clean technique when you can crack like Deontay Wilder, eh? Well, for as much as the Bronze Bomber gets a lot of criticism for his lack of real fundamentals, when he is able to really pile on the pressure, there's no single fighter in boxing history who can match him blow for blow. And that power was on full display here. As soon as he smelled blood, Wilder just threw the kitchen sink at him, hammering with a succession of incredibly hard punches until his opponent hit the canvas. This next one is pretty unique for MMA. Sure, you do see people flying flamboyant spinning kicks in this style every now and again, but few can actually land them with the same level of accuracy and effect that we see here. The setup on this kick was truly beautiful, and as soon as it landed, referee Mark Goddard did a good job at taking a quick but effective look at the kick's target, judging that he was not fit to continue. And if the stoppage seemed a little early, it's clear that things were only going to get worse for him had the fight continued. If you're not a regular viewer of Muay Thai, you'll likely have no idea just how versatile and effective that elbows can be when trying to hurt your opponent, Not only can they be instant fight enders, but the wide range of angles you can fire them off from can really catch your opponent off guard. And for this knockout, you can see just how sneakily effective elbow strikes can be. The KO blow in the end came from an odd upward angle, and its victim was caught totally unprepared. A 10 out of 10 in our books. A pretty bizarre-looking Taekwondo finish comes in next, a sequence that almost seemed like an accident, judging off the fighter's reaction. After an exchange that saw both men throw wild shots, the fight's seminal blow came when a low kick landed on its intended target's face instead of his legs. The kick was fired off to end a combination, but as his opponent fell to the mat, it lined up his chin perfectly for the shot to connect. Now, of course it wasn't intentional, but the results were undeniable. That dude was out cold. This massive overhand is the stuff of nightmares, folks. To land an overhand right of this power gives you a pretty great chance of KOing your opponent, but to do so with it as a counter shot, yeah, your target's going to sleep. There's no other way to put it. And that's exactly what we saw playing out here. A punch thrown with mean intentions that lived up to its billing. There's no getting up from a shot like that. A clean knockout. Speaking of overhands, this was a shot thrown with an almost Deontay Wilder-like level of intensity, the way it whipped out over the top. And just from the body language shown by both men before this punch landed, it was clear which way this bout was going. All he needed to do was find the perfect strike to finish with. And yep, he certainly did that. It's one thing to see the opportunity in front of you. It's another to capitalize with style points like this. This is another insanely creative and well-timed use to a slashing upward elbow. In Muay Thai, so much happens in these clinch exchanges that any newcomers to the sport might be lost in the details. But what you will understand is just how much one of these Muay Thai masters can do with the tiniest bit of space. And for this knockout, that's exactly what you saw unfold. The elbow strike came from the unorthodox angle, and it brought its opponent's night to a very sudden and painful-looking conclusion. This knockout showcased many things: brutal power, expert timing, and an uncoachable killer instinct. After landing a huge shot that visibly dazed his opponent, this dude decided to capitalize with the perfect follow-up attack. The head kick that came shortly after was just perfect on so many levels. That is how you finish an opponent. Big right hand and no time to waste before the follow-up head kick. Zero chance of recovery. The ground and pound was barely necessary at the end, and you just see that the referee was already on top of the situation to spare this fighter any more punishment. Look, we love a great spinning kick as much as the next person, but in our book, there might not be a more satisfying thing to watch than a very cleanly executed spinning elbow that lands directly on an opponent's chin. When these shots are used as a counter, in particular the impact, that soft thud of elbow hitting skull, yeah, it's all kinds of brutal. And after these two fighters were briefly separated by the referee, one of them decided to anticipate his opponent's forward momentum by elegantly pivoting into a picture-perfect spinning elbow. A shot that put his lights out right there and then. When you have punching power comparable to the great Gennady Golovkin, you really don't even need to wind up massively to score the KO finish. And for this body shot, it was the placement and the timing that really did the damage. Golovkin has a pair of rocks for fists, that much we know. But his technical ability is really the star of the show, and it's the thing that brought him the victory in this highlight reel-worthy moment. One of the greatest boxers of his era, and yes, he beat Canelo.